The anti-inflammatory power of Boswellia serrata. So, a couple of weeks ago, my son Garrett, he was competing at the state trap shoot in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And we had this amazing experience. Now, in this competition, he was shooting 100 targets in the morning, and then they come back and they shoot 100 targets in the afternoon. Now, this was the most that he has ever shot in one day, because what they normally were doing in the competitions is back in April and even into May, he was only shooting 50 targets. And towards the end of May, they worked up to where he was doing 100 targets. But now he had to do 200 targets in one day, and that was more than he had ever shot. So I knew that this was going to be a challenge for him. So in the morning, he shot really well, and he hit several personal bests, and we were both really looking forward to the afternoon. Well, it was starting to get hot. And, the day was starting to take its toll. And when when we got to shooting the second round in the afternoon, I could completely tell that something was off. He just was not shooting as well. And it was really hot and he was tired, but I could tell that there was something else that was bothering him. He's only 12 and I can read his face. I knew, as I was watching him, that there was really something else that was bothering him and he just wasn't saying anything. And at first I thought it was just that he was frustrated because he just wasn't shooting as well as he did in the morning. But when he came off the firing line to reload for his last round of targets, he told me, he's like, Dad, I can't feel my shoulder. And, the physical therapist in me jumps in there. I'm like, okay, all right, are you okay? Can you move it? He's like, yeah, I can move it. Any tingling in your fingertips? No, my fingertips are fine. Can you pull the trigger? Yes, I can pull my trigger because it was his right shoulder. And I said, well, Garrett, we've got 25 targets left to do. And your team is depending on you, and I could tell, I could read his face. He did not want to go back out there and shoot those last 25. He just really didn't. His shoulder hurt. It was a long day. He was hot. He was tired. He couldn't feel anything in that shoulder. The kid was just hurting. And, it's like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I got to go back out there. My team, my squad's depending on me. So he did it. He bucked up. He went back out there. He shot his last 25. And he actually did quite well with the last 25. Well, at the end of the competition, I was talking with him a little bit. And what I found out was during one of the earlier targets, he did not quite keep the butt of the gun centered like in the pocket of his shoulder, didn't keep it up there correctly. And he let his face pull off the stock a little bit as he was kind of swinging the gun to hit the target on the left. And the result was that gun just kicked him right in the shoulder, just kicked him right back. And, of course it bruised it. So, that's why he couldn't feel his shoulder. Now, I was so proud of him though, because even though he was hurting, and he knew he made a mistake and he learned from it, but, he just sucked it up and he got back out there to finish the shoot. Now, I'll admit, as a parent, it was really hard for me just to sit back and watch him fight through this pain and the frustration. I just wanted to get in there and I wanted to take it all away from him. I just wanted to make things better, but I couldn't, right? This was something that he had to work through on his own. And I realized that this was his first year shooting trap, and he's growing and he's learning a new sport, and that sometimes this growth can be a little uncomfortable. And as we were driving home that afternoon, it really got me thinking. I just kind of reflected and thought back of what happened in through the day. And it got me thinking about how this is really true in life too. Growth and healing does not occur in your comfort zones. If you truly want to heal, grow, and move forward in your life, then you have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. This is required. It's hard when you learn new things. When you take yourself outside of your comfort zone. When you first start, you will make mistakes. And, sometimes those mistakes can really hurt. But as you learn from your mistakes and you start to get better, that is when you start to see the growth. And working through these mistakes, it can be painful. And this is what really keeps people from, taking that next step and moving forward on those things that they want to be able to do, but they just let that fear of making a mistake and suffering that pain, they let that stop them. But I'm here to tell you, that it is so worth it when you get to the other side. And as I mentioned when we were driving home, I just felt this pride, coming up for my son, for watching him push through the pain, finish what he started. He was truly outside of his comfort zone. But I know that this experience is going to help him to grow. And while growth and healing, they do involve getting outside of your comfort zone. And this can be painful. And this pain, it can be emotional, spiritual, or even physical pain. There are many things that you can do to help yourself through that pain while you are going through the healing. And sometimes the physical pain comes from a chronic inflammatory disease. And you might find yourself dependent on a medication to help you with that pain. However, we realize this: there are many natural supplements that are out there that can provide you with that same, if not better, relief. And so today, what I want to do is I'm going to share with you my experience with the supplement that is called Boswellia serrata. But first, what I want to do is I want to take you back in time. I want to put you in a little time machine, okay? I want to take you back to 1999. And this is back in the day when I was a competitive powerlifter. And I had finished second place at the USA Powerlifting Nationals in St. Louis. And I was getting ready for my next meet. And, I was working out hard. I was in the gym and I was squatting. And then one day, as I was squatting, it wasn't really super heavy weight, but I just got out of form. I got a little lax and my knee just twisted a little bit. And I felt this sharp, shearing pain in my right knee. And then the pain went away. And then I thought, well, that was weird. And as I continued to work out that day, the pain kind of came back, but it was just there, and you like everybody, you kind of ignore it, and you push through it. And I still remember driving my truck home that day after my workout, and when I got out of that truck, I had trouble straightening my knee. I had trouble walking. I had a lot of pain. So I iced it, I rested it. I was a new physical therapist at that time. I'd only been practicing a couple of years. And I just thought, well, I can take care of this myself. This will be okay. Well, you know what? It wasn't. And it got worse. Suddenly, I couldn't sleep at night. It would wake me up. I couldn't climb stairs. I couldn't kneel. I couldn't squat. I couldn't squat my own body weight, let alone 700 plus pounds that I was lifting at that time. And, finally I couldn't do anything more. So I got it looked at, and eventually we had to do surgery. And I found that I had what's called an articular cartilage defect, okay? So an articular cartilage defect occurs when you shear off a piece of the cartilage that coats the end of the bone. Now, that cartilage we call articular cartilage. It is like the coating of a pan, okay? Like a brand new frying pan that has this good coating over it. And that's like what the cartilage does. And I had torn a piece of that off my femur. And they had to go in and they had to actually think of it kind of like a loose piece of turf, right? And the surgeon had to peel back what was torn off. He had to trim it out, and then he had to drill these little holes into my bone. And it created this blood clot that formed over that. They call that a microfracture procedure. And that blood clot uses the stem cells that turn into this, what we call a fibrocartilage patch. Now, it's not perfect, it's not the best, but it's about the best thing that you can do, short of going out and doing a knee replacement. But at that time, I was not a candidate for a knee replacement. So we did this microfracture procedure. I rehabbed my knee, but I got to where I could walk. I got to where I could climb steps sometimes, but anytime I tried to lift heavier weight, my knee would hurt. Okay? And anytime I tried to do anything like kneeling, crawling, squatting, it would hurt. And it was like that for years, for a very long time. When my kids were born, I realized that, I couldn't crawl on the floor with them. I couldn't do yard work. There was no way I could run. There was just no way at all. I mean, if you can't go down steps normally, if you can't crawl on the floor with your newborn, if you can't kneel on that side, how on earth would you take the impact of any kind of running? And so, I just thought, well, this is the way it's going to be. And I was just eating anti-inflammatories and taking, Aleve and ibuprofen and not realizing what that was doing to my own health. Well, it was just like that from 1999 on. And now fast forward to 2016. And a friend of mine, I still couldn't run. I still couldn't, it still hurt. My knee would be painful pretty much on a daily basis. And I had a friend who told me about this new supplement that was out called Joint NutriCare. Said, give it a try, let's see what happens. And so I started taking it. And I had taken some other supplements in the past and I didn't really get a lot out of it. So this one I kind of thought, I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to help or not. It may be just like all of the others. And I started noticing that my knees started feeling better. And it got slowly over time, within about 2 or 3 months, it got better and better. Now, all of a sudden, I didn't have pain when I was walking. I didn't have pain when I was going up and down stairs. So I continued to take it. I took it, and I'm still taking it now. I've been taking this stuff for 5 years now. And last year, I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and run. All right? I had lost some weight. I had gotten more healthy. I said, I want to see if I can do this. And I got out there and I went out and I started running. Now, last time, I'll be honest with you, last time that I ran was clear back in 1992, all right? So here we are, 2020, and I'm trying to go out and run. The last time I ran was 1992. So I don't need to tell you I was out of shape, right? I mean, I was out of shape. I could run maybe a quarter mile before the burning got so bad in my legs I had to stop. Anyway, make a long story short, I'm going to get to my point here. I continued to work through it, and meaning the conditioning and the muscle burning, and it was uncomfortable. But guess what? I got better. I got in better shape. I got to the point to where now I can run 3 miles, and I don't have any knee pain. I should have knee pain. I had an articular cartilage defect, microfracture procedure in my right knee. That impact loading from the running should make me hurt. It does not. And I know for a fact that the reason is that joint supplement, because in the past I stopped taking it for a while, my knee pain came back. So I take that natural supplement. It has allowed me to build up to the point where I can run 3 miles 3 times a week. In fact, I am going to run in my first ever 5K race on the 4th of July. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever have been able to do that. And I can do that because of these supplements. And one of the ingredients to this supplement that has helped me so much is Boswellia serrata. Okay? So it's one of the key ingredients in Formula 2 of Joint NutriCare. Now, what is it? What is Boswellia serrata? Well, it is one of the most ancient and valued herbs in India. Now, this supplement, basically, it's made from the gum resin of the Boswellia serrata, or the Boswellia tree. And that tree grows in India, North Africa, and the Middle East. Kind of grows in these arid, environments. And it has been used for centuries. We're talking, not just hundreds, but even thousands of years to treat various chronic inflammatory diseases. And it's actually been documented as far back as 700 BC as being used as an anti-inflammatory. Now, currently, Boswellia serrata is used to treat arthritis, lower inflammation levels in the body, control blood lipids, decrease atherosclerosis, relieve pain, and actually it has the ability to help protect the liver as well through its suppression of inflammation. So let's face the truth here, okay? Most of the drugs that people are taking today to treat chronic diseases, they all have harmful side effects. Just listen to the advertisements on TV, all right? And listen to those side effects that they read off at the very end in a very low voice, right? And they only say that because the FDA says they have to. But they all have horrible side effects, all right? Things that I know that you end up having to take another pill to correct those. For example, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, just even the over-the-counter, all right? You know, your Aleve and your ibuprofen. These medications that we all think was safe, heck, I thought they were safe back in the day. You know, I took them like candy. You know, when I was in the Army, I was a medic in the Army back from 89 to 92. We used to call ibuprofen GI candy, right? Because that's what any guy would come to us with any kind of ache or pain, we just give him ibuprofen. We didn't know. We didn't know any better. We didn't have the research. But listen, what we know now is this. NSAIDs increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. It raises the blood pressure, and it can cause gastrointestinal ulcers to the point that it can bleed to the point where people have died from taking over-the-counter NSAIDs. Not to mention, we want to talk about the COX-2 inhibitors, Bextra and Vioxx, which had contributed to the death of thousands before these medications were finally pulled from the market by the FDA. And not only that, but then there was all these lawsuits with Merck and Pfizer and many of these other companies because they hid the truth about what was going on with these medications. And they hid the truth for one reason and one reason only, because they were making a lot of money, right? And they put that profit over the good of the general public. Well, I mean, that's been taken care of. You know, they paid the price. But my point is this. There is not a single medication that does not carry with it a side effect. But there are natural products that are derived from plants that are known as phytomedicines, okay? Phyto meaning P-H-Y-T-O, medicines, okay? These have extraordinary healing capabilities without side effects, right? So now, given the rise of chronic diseases in the U.S., there is a real need for these phytomedicines. You know, we're trying to get that information out there. That's why I do what I do, so I can get this into your hands and that you can make the decision for yourself. So, Boswellia serrata is one such compound. Now, it targets many of the pathways that cause inflammation. Now, this process, I don't want to bore you guys, okay? I don't want to geek out here, but it is a quite complicated process. But basically, what it does is at the molecular level, it targets the receptors, enzymes, what we call kinases, transcription factors, and growth factors to shut down inflammation. And it also not just shuts down inflammation. Here's something else that you didn't know that this did, is it also reduces the growth of cancer cells. Now, it all does all of this. One other pathway is that it inhibits the pro-inflammatory enzyme that's called 5, and then there's a dash, LOX, 5-LOX. Okay, it's a pro-inflammatory enzyme, and this Boswellia serrata actually inhibits that enzyme. Now, can your Aleve, ibuprofen, and Celebrex do that? I don't think so. See, Boswellia serrata acts against inflammatory disorders. It treats things like arthritis, asthma, irritable bowel syndrome, and ulcers, as well as cancer. Now, it acts against metabolic disorders such as diabetes, atherosclerosis, and like I mentioned, it slows the growth of several cancers, such as it's been documented to slow the growth of bladder cancer, brain cancer, cervical cancer, colon and colorectal cancer, liver cancer, leukemia, lung cancer, melanoma, meningioma, neuroblastoma, ovarian, pancreatic cancers, and prostate cancer. How amazing is that? It's also shown to improve eczema, psoriasis, and viral infections. So, it does a lot of different stuff. But let's talk about how it improves arthritis, okay? So, you know, as the cartilage wears out in the joint, it results in inflammation of the joint and the surrounding connective tissue. Now, the result is stiffness, swelling, pain, and weakness. All of this will keep you from being able to just walk, stand, bend, lift, twist, sleep, or just even enjoy life. Now, in studies, Boswellia serrata decreased this inflammation, and the result was less joint pain, less stiffness, reduced swelling, and improved physical function in those taking Boswellia serrata supplements in these studies. In fact, there was one clinical trial where they had 30 patients with joint arthritis. They all received Boswellia serrata extract, 50% extract at 33 milligrams 3 times a day for 90 days. And they had a reduction in pain of 90% and an improvement in the range of motion of their affected joints by 80%. So, who should be taking Boswellia serrata? Anyone, I'm telling you right now, anyone who wants to be healthier without the use of harmful medications which have these nasty side effects. And those who want to improve their lives, they want to be more active and they just want to live life to its fullest. Now, the incidence of chronic inflammatory diseases is on the rise. There's no question about that. Arthritis, cancers, diabetes, and so many more. The sad truth here is all of these things, they're preventable. Okay? They are preventable. There's things that you can do to keep these things from affecting your body. There is clear scientific evidence to support the use of phytochemicals to reduce and possibly eliminate chronic inflammatory diseases like arthritis. And that's why I look at Boswellia serrata as truly one of nature's miracles. So speaking of natural healing, if you're experiencing any back or hip pain and it's just getting in the way of your life, then you really have to check out our back pain breakthrough session. See, now this is a session where you can find out the root cause of your problem, you can get treatment, you can feel better immediately. How awesome is that? You know, we all want to feel better right away, correct? Just all you got to do, click on the link in the show notes, and that'll take your first step at you taking your life back. Now, as always, I'm going to leave you with a thought-provoking quote in the words of Timothy Keller. And what he said was, "Suffering can refine us rather than destroy us because God Himself walks with us in the fire." So I'm going to let you think about that. And until next time, power your life and keep moving forward.